And we are back live here from Cleveland inside the queue. You can see there our camera position from our media suite. All different networks have their locations inside the queue around the bowl, the lower level. That seating there for the delegates that have arrived here in Cleveland, thousands of them, over 2,000 delegates, and there's another 2,300 about alternate delegates that are here in Cleveland for day 2 of the Republican National Convention. We are about a mile away at the Skylight Financial Group space. And at our table this morning is the Maricopa County Sheriff Joe Arpaio, also a delegate from his state of Arizona. Thank you, sir, for being here. Supporter of Donald Trump.
Yes.
How many Arizona delegates, though, were involved yesterday in the effort to try to force a roll call vote on the rules? Was your delegation divided?
Not really. It was in the past, but we joined together yesterday, which is a good sign.
What did you make of the effort by some of the delegates there on the floor?
Well, you know, this is a free society. People have a right to speak out, politically or otherwise. I wasn't too happy with it. You know, I supported Donald Trump a year ago, one of the few that did, and stuck with him, and he won fair and square, the primary, and we should listen to the people. And the people wanted him, and that's the way it should be in this country.
You were quoted in one story wearing your tie pin in the shape of a gun like you are this morning, saying, "I will utilize my 55 years of law enforcement to quell the revolt. I don't have a gun, but I have a tongue." What did you mean by that?
Well, that's interesting. I don't even carry a gun. I shouldn't say that. I can. I'm a law enforcement guy, elected. But kind of not a joke, really. Sometimes you can get more done talking. And I think I was referring to the media. Talk to the media. Sometimes they don't like me, but why bite the hand that feeds you? I'm here with you. I don't know, you might blast me all over the place, but okay.
We don't do that on C-SPAN.
No, I know that. So I think that's what I meant, you know, talk sometimes.
Why did you decide to support Donald Trump a year ago? Was it his stance on immigration, which you yourself have been vocal about?
Illegal immigration. But it's not just that. I've been the honorary chairman for George W. Bush, first time, and I was an electoral college involvement, and also for Mitt Romney, first time. And I've had many presidential candidates visit me or contact me the last cycle. I did settle with Perry of Texas. So I say that only because I have a little knowledge of presidential campaigns. In fact, I've had 4 presidential candidates visit my tent city that I set up, and it's still there. I might be talking about them on my anniversary date, which is August 3, those 4 that came to the tents. So Donald Trump came on board, and I introduced him last July in Phoenix, and something told me that he was the guy. My gut told me that, and been with him ever since.
What does he share in common with the past presidential nominees that you have been in support of?
Well, you know, there's insiders, outsiders. He's a businessman, which I think we need, and very outspoken. And he is a nice person. I don't like to get over dramatic, but let me just say he had me hooked from day one. He didn't have to go through my wife to get me hooked. And my wife unfortunately was diagnosed with cancer at the time, and he found out about it and called my wife 5, 6 minutes and called her again and called her again. So that shows you the heart he has. He does. All these other candidates, they didn't even call me, whether they won or lost. You know, once you do it, they forget. So that struck me, the type of character he has.
All right, let's get to calls here for you, Sheriff. Our first one is Don in Sandstone, Virginia, a Democrat. Welcome.
Thanks for having me. Please give me a few moments. I was wondering if the sheriff's gut had told him anything about. I'm a 70-year-old senior citizen and a highly decorated veteran. However, Donald Trump, who says he's an honest, good businessman, speaks his mind, and Fred Trump, his father, in 1927, was arrested on Memorial Day, KKK clash with the police, 1,000 KK members and against 100 police. In 73, it was racial discrimination in reference to their housing, their real estate, with lawsuit ended in 75 against both Trumps with a huge settlement. In 91, Robert LaBooty was banned in 1991 from casinos for his ties to the late mafia boss John Gotti. He was a high roller at Trump casinos in Atlantic City, Trump Plaza. That same year, the casino was fined $200,000 by the New Jersey regulators for violating anti-discrimination laws involving complaints linked to LaBooty's racist behavior inside the casino. He didn't want any women or blacks around him while he was gambling, and Trump politely accommodated. He flew on Trump's helicopter and partied on his yacht, including a failed deal for Trump to buy a horse from LaBooty, even though Trump denies remembering him. Trump also filed bankruptcy 4 times in 91, 92, 2004, 2009, good businessman, and paid LaBooty.
Okay, so Don, we hear your point. We hear your point. Let's give the sheriff a chance
First
to
of
respond.
all, you're a veteran. Thank you for your service.
Yes, he's gone, but he did say that he's a veteran.
And of course, I joined the Army when the Korean War broke out. That means I'm a senior citizen. I was 18, 1950. I don't know where he's getting all this. He's talking about his family, Trump's family.
He's talking about Trump's business practices, some that have been reported on, Trump University, et cetera, where dealings have gone bad. And what does that say about Donald Trump and his ability to lead, to be president?
Well, you know, when you're in business, that I was too, believe it, other than my 55 years, business sometimes is tough. You win some and you lose some. He's been very successful to this day. So, you know, business, you have to negotiate, you have to make deals. That's not a bad word when he says he'll negotiate when he becomes president. That's how you get things done. So I don't know where he's coming up with the mafia and all. I worked on a mob when I was with the Federal Drug Enforcement. I don't know where he has his research. He has a right to talk. And my wife's from Virginia, too. So I can't comment on where all the stuff he's coming up with.
Let's take another policy issue beyond the economy, immigration, illegal immigration. Do you believe that Donald Trump will build a wall, and do you think it's realistic to say that Mexico will pay for it?
Well, I don't want to give my resume, but I have to sometimes lay the foundation that I think I know what I'm talking about. You know, I don't just go to the wall or the fence like most politicians get their photo op. They don't even know where Mexico is. So I was the regional director of Mexico City, South America, head of the Federal Drug Enforcement, Texas, Arizona, 24 years as the sheriff, which is 30 miles. So I had 35 years fighting the drug problem on both sides of the border. And he brought this out, and a lot of people were not happy. No matter what happens, he brought this subject out a year ago, talking about the wall and illegal immigration in Mexico. And if it wasn't for that, nobody would be talking about it now. So I have to thank him for that. So he pretty well knows what's going on, because now we continue to have the illegal immigration problem. The border is a problem. We got terrorism now. People are shooting cops. I can go on and on. The illegal immigration is a complex problem. It's not an easy one to solve. And I know that I've taken a lot of heat in my fight throughout, since Obama took office and went after me, he and Holder. They're still after me. So let's get something done about it. Where's Hillary Clinton? No, you know, I was a diplomatic attaché in Turkey. I can go on and on. The most important person in the government, other than the president, is the Secretary of State when you deal with foreign policy. How many times has Hillary been to Mexico? How many times has Obama been to Mexico? They can fly everywhere in the world, but why don't they spend some time in Mexico dealing with their president out there and negotiate, getting things done, show this important? No, they don't go there. And that's the most important country we have for drug trafficking, illegal immigration. So there's something wrong with this present administration.
Another call for you here, Sheriff, comes from Jeff in St. Paul, Minnesota, Republican.
Well, Joe, just a quick compliment. You're one of my personal heroes and truly a patriot. But my question has to come from the fact that we have people that openly work against our American constitutional interests. Where and how do you think we can expand our definition of treason so we can begin to put these people at least off the voter rolls and hopefully behind bars or behind barbed wire?
Well, you know, we have to look at our judicial system. I don't want to get into that right now. But you have to have leadership. You have to have the people behind you and someone like an outsider for a change. And, you know, when there's a law that's on the books, you should try to enforce that law, even if it may be controversy around that law, maybe not politically correct. I can go on and on. So, and this is where we are right now with illegal immigration, terrorism, and some other matters. At least Donald Trump isn't afraid to speak out. Sometimes he gets in trouble, what he says, but what do you want? A guy to read the teleprompter all the time and follow a party line? So that's why I like Trump. So we need a change in this country. It's the greatest country in the world. I've lived in many different countries, but there's a change needed right now, and I'm sure he will make that change when he takes office.
David, Caldwell, New Jersey, independent. Good morning.
Good morning. Yes, Joe, thank you for serving our country and upholding law and order. I'm out here in New Jersey where in between the Boston and Baltimore, Washington corridor where 20% of the people live. And I'd like to just ask you, since you did support Bush and you did support Romney, and they, of course, it doesn't seem like they're putting their support behind Donald. I was wondering what advice would you give them? In fact, I think their actions are kind of immature. They ought to get on board and vote for Donald. They may have not gotten their choices, but could you give us your opinion on that? What would you tell these former running mates or presidents, and Romney and also Bush?
Well, the first thing, I guess they want Hillary to be the president. Number two, get on board. Forget all the pettiness, maybe both sides. I can understand how they feel. But now Trump is our nominee. Let's get him into office and stop these jealousy or anger that's been going on with certain elements of the Republican Party. And stop saying that a lot of these people are saying, I will support the nominee. Wait a minute. The nominee his name happens to be Trump. So why don't they say, I will support and endorse Donald Trump for president? But maybe today or this week they may be able to say that.
George is in Florida, Republican. Welcome to the conversation.
Oh, thank you very much. And Mr. Sheriff Arpaio, I support you very much. My question, by the way, I am a combat veteran. So like the other caller.
Thank you.
And I'm not highly decorated like he was. I don't know what that means. But I support very much what you do. Now, I want to ask one question. when did all this crime start? I mean, like they keep talking about lynching and KKK. The criminal numbers now are so ridiculous among the black people. Did that start back in Reconstruction? Did that force the KKK? Or were these people like, did they come over on a boat like Ozzie and Harriet and we corrupted them? That's all I want to know. Maybe some black callers could fill me in. Thank you very much, and great for what you do.
Well, I'm a senior citizen. I don't know if I'd probably go way back. I was born in 1932, so you can get your idea that I'm
Do the math.
Yeah, 80, what am I, 84? I lost track. So you know, by the way, I in the 50s, I probably walked the toughest beat in America in Washington, D.C., black beat. I've made thousands of arrests, been assaulted many times, but we never had the shootings, we never had the racial component thrown in there. So here we are today. You got all this Black Lives Matter, all this people being shot, cops being murdered, assassinated. So we're living in a different time. So I think we need new leadership. And one thing I want to talk about, Donald Trump. He loves the cops, and he loves our military and veterans. Now, I know that. You know, I've been around a long time. I know when someone's con me or not, especially politicians. So we have someone that's going to back up the cops and back up our veterans and military. I think that's very important.
Why did you call it the Black Beat? Is that what you called it in the 50s?
It was the Black Beat.
What did that mean?
African American.
Well, what did it mean, though, that you had specifically that beat? What did that mean back then? What does it mean now?
It means I think I know how to walk a beat and how to relate to the black people on my beat. There was no white people were there. So I bring that out because I did have contact with the black community. I had a nightstick and a blackjack and a .38, but I got along pretty well. Walking the beat, knew everybody on my beat, locked up people that had to be locked up, been assaulted, arrested a lot of people, but I never had the racial connotation. I never had any shootings. And that was a tough beat. And now here we are today, and look what's happening in America. So I'm trying to equate what I did in the 50s and what's going on today, politically and otherwise. And I have to say, unfortunately, I think that the president, I know he sets the tempo. The president sets a tempo with the government bureaucracy and the people. But I don't know if he's been doing the job very well when you're dealing with the racial component, you know, and sticking his nose into local law enforcement like he did in Cambridge, Mass, when you had the white cop arrest a black professor, and he went right down there accusing the cop without even knowing what's going on. And that's been going on in the last 3-4 years. That's not how you solve the problem.
After Baton Rouge, the president did go before the cameras and said that there is no justification for violence against law enforcement.
When did he say that?
Right after the Baton Rouge shootings, the shootings of the police officer.
Where's he been the last 3-4 years? Why now? It's a little too late. All these cops being assassinated, and now he's saying it? Should have been saying it from day one. So I'm not trying to go after the president, but once again, we have to get this thing balanced and get it settled and stop playing politics with our cops. And so I get a little, not emotional, but I see what's going on in our country. We're going to get this straightened out because this still is the greatest country. We go through cycles. It's time to get on another cycle going.
More calls. Carl in Elizabeth City, North Carolina, Democrat. You're next.
Hello, Joe. You're 80-some years old. I'm 75. I'm also a veteran.
Young guy.
Now you're claiming cops killing has been going, just started, or blacks being mistreated, Now, blacks have been mistreated ever since they've been in this country by the cops, and what's happening is now they're catching it on cell phones. Black people have been complaining for centuries how they're being mistreated, but you all wouldn't believe it. Especially racists like you, Joe. You want to blame everything that black people say is a lie, but now we're catching it on this cell phone. You still don't want to believe it.
Okay, Carl, let's get a response from the sheriff. There have been a history of blacks being mistreated by cops, it was his point. How do you respond to that? And should those police officers be punished?
There's whites being mistreated, any type of that ethnic background. Why do we just say blacks? Sometimes cops mistreat other people too. So why are we not concerned with all the people, not just the African American people?
Do you recognize the history of the relationship between Black America and police officers, the marches, the civil rights, the protests, etc.?
I think there's been much strive. 35% of my organization are minorities. Look at the success of the African American. We ought to be proud of that, whether it's athletes, politics, or what have you. So they have made big strides, and it will continue on. So don't take some isolated incidents and make that a big political situation in our country. And I'm not going to blame the media, but sometimes the media, are involved. They have to report too. And I'm not going to talk about copycats and all that, but in my 54 years, I noticed that when you have a lot of media attention, which you need the media, but some people see the media and then they go out and do some bad things because they see it on television, they see people talking, they see the president speaking, and some, especially if they're mentally unbalanced, do bad things. But I'm convinced, as all the years I've been on the earth, that things will straighten out. It will.
Okay. All right. A few more calls here for you. Bob, who's in Clifton Heights, Pennsylvania, Republican. Hi, Bob.
Hi, good morning. Sheriff Arpaio, I'm flabbergasted that I'm talking to you because I've been following you for years and years. I'm an ex-police officer, and I'm so flabbergasted. I don't even know what to say. I'm just so excited to talk to you, and I just want to let you know that the way you treat people should be reflected in how your vote is going to be cast for Mr. Trump, and all these other people who are in the Republican Party who are against Trump. To me, it's kind of ridiculous because it's a vote for Hillary, and if they don't want that, then vote for Trump or vote for Hillary.
Well, I'm a little sad about that. As I mentioned earlier in the show, let the pettiness, forget it. Look at Trump. He said some nasty things. Okay, that was the politics. But let's not use that and make sure that a Democrat wins because of pettiness. And I've never seen this before in all the campaigns I've been involved in, including my own. I'm going on number 7. So I just can't understand this. I cannot understand what's going on.
You are up for re-election this fall for sheriff, and it's been reported, the Daily Beast reported, that you have $9 million in your campaign chest for your re-election.
I think it's 10.
10. That's more than Donald Trump for president. What do you need $10 million for a sheriff campaign?
Well, I'm taking a lot of heat. When the White House and everybody gangs up on you, I have to fight back. And I have a lot of support. But I'm in another tough race. A lot of elements want to get rid of me. and maybe I should start carrying a gun again. That's another thing. I love demonstrators. I always go in the midst of demonstrators. They follow me around the world. I'm surprised that we don't have any against me today here in Cleveland. I'm a little disappointed at that. But I love going to the demonstrator. I go right in there. They scream at me, give me the finger, and everything goes on. But that's a way you're able to communicate. That's how you should do it, in a nice, different venue, of course. So if we can communicate more with the so-called enemies, if you want, you can get a lot of things done, like I did in Mexico City. They hated us. G. Gordon Liddy and I ran Operation Intercept, 69, closed the border under Nixon for two weeks. We never had any drugs come in. Then I had to take over as director, and they hated us. So all you do is, my wife's a good cook, cook blueberry pie for the Attorney General, give him a little whiskey. I got more done with blueberry pie and whiskey in Mexico than the big stick. That's how you do it.
Serving blueberry pie.
Hey, if Obama liked blueberry pie, I'd be glad to deliver to him. He doesn't invite me to the White House. Of course, he doesn't like my investigation that I have going. And also, I sued him last year.
What's your investigation that you have going? Remind our viewers.
It has something to do with a birth certificate. So I took that on, and I'm not finished with it yet, but nothing's probably going to happen.
Nothing's going to happen of it?
Not in this administration.
Well, what's your plan for your investigation? You're not finished, but what will you do when you're done?
That's a good question. I've had 2 big press conferences in the past. The media doesn't even want to cover it. But people came to me. I'm the elected sheriff. They asked me to do it. I served the people. They're my constituents, and I took it on. Took a little heat, and I stick by what we accomplished.
Let's hear from Kyle next in New York. Independent.
Yes, I just wanted to kind of make a couple of corrections here for this fine gentleman. I happened to have my computer next to me, and I couldn't help but notice when he said Obama has not made any trips to Mexico. I quickly searched and found that actually there's only one country he has visited more, and that was France. Again, I would also like to point out another misconception that he had. Obama never said anything about being bad shooting cops up until the last little spot. That's absurd, sir. I've listened to him talk countless times on these subjects, countless times. And he's always handled it with grace and with dignity.
Okay, maybe I better check his travel agent or Air Force One to see how many times he flew to Mexico to talk with the president and other high officials. And maybe you're right, but that's not. I've been around the border and involved in this recently, the last 8 years since he's been president. Where was he all the time when a white cop was killed? How many times has he gone to visit the family and so on? Okay, you want to start talking statistics and see what the real story is.
Henry in Michigan, Democrat, you're next.
Yes. Joe, you're a disgrace to the uniform. You're a disgrace to this country.
Which uniform? Which one? My military or my police uniform? Which one am I a disgrace? You said. I'm a disgrace for the sheriff uniform, not the military uniform. Is that what you're saying?
Like you.
Henry, you're breaking up there. Are you there?
He disappeared.
Well, let's give him a chance. Henry, are you there in Michigan? Okay, he's gone. We'll move on to Ron, who's in Pennsylvania. Republican. Hi, Ron.
How you doing this morning? I'd just like to make a comment on, Joe said about the videos and all that kind of stuff. And a lot of these people, it's like every race has good and bad in it, okay? Now, if you watch the videos, they have what they call the knockout game. They have all these other things that they post on video, but that's okay. But as soon as one of them robs a bank or a store or something like that, then defies the police, they get hurt. All of a sudden, the criminal's the victim. I don't understand that. It's been
Well, you
going
know,
on too much.
You bring up a good point. Everybody's wearing cameras. You know, you can't go anywhere. You go to the toilet, they film you. So it's a tough position with the cops. And unfortunately, when they see a video right off the bat, they fire the police chief. They call the Department of Justice. They don't even know the whole story yet. And it's very difficult being a cop today. Very difficult with all the pressures of cameras and politics and Department of Justice, the White House. I can go on and on. There's a war on cops. It's been there. I've been saying it for 3 years. Recently, I had a white guy, 50 years old, shoot one of my deputies, given a traffic ticket because the day before another deputy gave him a ticket. I had a Hispanic shoot up my substation with a semi-automatic weapon as the deputy was walking into the station. So there's a war on cops, and unfortunately it's going to continue with the way things are going.
Emma in Stockton, California, a Democrat. You are on the air with Sheriff Arpaio. Go ahead.
Good morning. I called to comment, Black Lives Matter does matter because it's our children being shot and killed by rogue policemen. And that's another thing. You're protecting the rogue policemen. Plus, the rogue policemen are making it bad for you. They go out and commit these heinous crimes, and then you guys innocently, the good cops, go out and try to protect the community. But the bad cops, and you know who they are. Everybody knows who they work with. You've had some kind of interaction to that person's personality. So you can tell if a cop is good or bad. And that's in any company, But don't just blame it on black people, and saying there's a war on cops. You guys need to clean house. Get your house clean. Get all the bad cops out, and things would be a whole lot better.
So if a white cop kills a white person and you want to call him a rogue cop, how come you're not making a big complaint about that? That happens, unfortunately. I don't see anybody even care. So why now? Because someone happens to be black, it puts it in a different dimension. I mean, I'm not even going to say every life matters. You got all these slogans. What matters is to enforce the law. And if anybody violates the law, you take action. It doesn't matter what background they're from or ethnic background. So we got to get off that and treat everybody equally and fairly.
Tell our viewers about the pin that you wear, the tie pin you have, shaped like a gun. Why do you wear that?
I'm a cop. Do you want me to wear a flower on my...
Okay.
What do you want me to wear?
Point taken. But you don't carry a gun, right?
Well, that's a gun. So, no, I just do it. People look at the gun. Believe it or not, everybody looks at the gun instead of my face. They all, oh, wow, what a gun. And we're selling a lot of guns to raise money for the kids and selling the pink underwear that I make all the inmates wear. The chain gangs, the Tent City, which I'll be celebrating our 23rd year anniversary in August 3. Pretty proud of that when I set that up. All our training, all our rehabilitation, all our drug prevention programs, nobody talks about that because it's nice. I'm not complaining about the media. So anybody that wants to tour the tents, these people that don't like what's going on, I had Bernie's wife come to the tents last month. She was chastised for giving me more publicity. The Democratic Party didn't like that. Why not? I let anybody come and talk to the inmates. I have nothing to hide.
We'll get in one last call for you, Sheriff. It's from Ann in Tennessee, a Republican. Ann, good morning to you there.
Good morning.
Ann in Tennessee.
I'm calling
yes,
from
you are. It's
Indiana.
It's your turn, Ann. Please go ahead. Okay, calling from Indiana. Go ahead, please.
Calling from Indiana. Hello, I'm calling from Indiana. I called 35 times to get through, and actually I was calling about the last two people who were on, but I have watched the sheriff several times on TV. He is not a racist. He is a good man. God bless him. I wish there was more people like him, and I pray that he keeps up what he's doing. Thank you for being there.
Sure.
I'm not going into my family for security reasons, but let me say they're all different types. Let's put it at that. But,
Okay.
and they call me a racist. You know what? They can't get you on anything else. It's always, they throw the race card out. I understand. It doesn't bother me.
Well, Sheriff Arpaio, thank you very much for sitting at our table this morning, coming to us here in Cleveland and talking to our
Thank you.
viewers. Appreciate the conversation.
Thank you.